Hello, today Mama Cat and I are going to be demonstrating finger transport clicker training. Because this is the first skill that we'll be teaching this cat, the first thing we need to do is make the association that click equals reward. To do that, we do something that's called charging or loading the clicker. The cat will likely be some distance away from you, and to charge or load the clicker, you just click and slide the treat towards the cat. Now, if the cat's inside of their cave, you're just going to toss this within the proximity outside of the cave. Anywhere that is close to the cat, try to get it within a foot of the cat so that they don't have to go too far, but they will come eat that treat, and then you can click and slide another one in their direction. If the cat doesn't take the treat, that's okay. It might take them a while to make this association, so we'll just keep trying in subsequent sessions. Once the cat will take the treat one by one as you click and toss, they eat, click and toss, you eat, and they'll do that for about 5 treats in a row. We're ready to start shaping the actual skill. The skill that we're shaping here is that I should be able to point to a location. The cat will come to that location, and I can transport the cat throughout the space in front of me or throughout the room by moving my finger around, and they'll come to that location. In order to shape this skill, we'll first simply set the treat down about an arm's distance away from ourselves, point to the treat, remove our hand slowly and lowly to the ground so that our hand motion doesn't scare the cat, and as soon as the cat begins to advance, we'll click and allow them to have the treat. Then we'll start pointing a few inches away from the treat, and when they advance, we'll click, remove, and allow them to have the treat. And then we'll bring our finger closer and closer to the treat. Once we're able to be touching the treat, now we're going to increase the criteria of what earns a click. That increase is the proximity of the cat to your hand. So before we were just clicking as soon as they began to advance, now we're going to make them get a little closer before they earn a click, a little closer before they earn a click. And finally, the closest you want them to get is where they are just outside of the proximity that they would be able to make contact with you or the treat. We don't actually want them to touch you. It's not a target skill, it's a transport skill. So we'll click and remove our hand before they have the opportunity to paw at us or boop us with their nose. Then we're going to begin to phase out the treat. So I'm going to place my finger on top of the treat and hide it as they begin to advance. Click, allow them to have the treat. I'll put my finger in front of the treat, so the treat's here, my finger's in front of it, click, and allow them to have the treat. Then I'm going to hold the treat in my hand. I'll point to the location, they'll come, I'll click, drop the treat, allow them to have it, and then I'll actually hold the treat in my other hand. So I'll point, they'll come, I'll click, remove my hand, and slide this treat with the other hand within the vicinity of where I was pointing. Once the cat does that, that is mastery of a finger transport. Now we can move on to level 2 of transportation. If I point to a location, I want to be able to have them follow my finger. So we'll start with a very short distance at first. I'll point, they'll start coming. I'm gonna drag it maybe a couple inches, click, and slide the treat into that location. The next time I'll go a little further, and next time I'll go a little further. And eventually I'll be able to have them go to this side, and I want them to be able to follow all the way across in the space in front of me while my finger is dragging on the ground. If they have some hesitation, don't move as far, don't move as fast, just go at the pace that the cat is able to learn this skill. Once they'll follow my finger dragging on the ground, I can increase the height of my finger, maybe just a centimeter or an inch. And then once they'll follow that, I can increase it a little more until it's about nose height that they're following. Now we can add another level to this skill, which is crossing an obstacle, such as our leg. So these cats are already comfortable with being enticed across our lap with a lick mat or a treat that we were using to have them come back and forth over all levels of our leg. Now we can use our transport skills to ask them to follow our nose height finger to cross this obstacle. Because we have this obstacle here now, this is essentially a new skill, so we may need to back it up a little bit and start by just placing the treat on our leg, pointing to it, and once they come here, then I could take another one and point over here to ask them to then cross, and we can go back to dragging our finger across and eventually back to that nose height to ask them to cross at all levels, right? So we'll start this first at the ankles, we'll move up to the shin, to the knee, to the thigh. You could even do cross legs with this skill to have them come up and cross our legs, and then they get their treat over there. Now, something that's really cool about this skill, because it's not a target skill and they haven't been making contact with us, they've been moving wherever we've been telling them to go, we can now ask them to go to different heights or inside of things. So I could ask this cat to come and go up here and jump inside of this hole, or go up onto this cat tree. I can ask them to go inside of a carrier. So finger transport skill can be transferred to many different areas that are useful for us with our little kiddos. So enjoy teaching your cat this skill, have fun, let me know if you have any questions or if you need help with your kiddo at home.